Welcome back to the channel. This is Simon Cromer, and today I will be explaining my experience with Hurricane Ian as someone who actually directly experienced a hurricane. But before we get started, shout out to Central Florida Boat Detailing for the apparel. Amazing long sleeve with the hoodie for working in the sun. Great quality. Honestly, amazing quality. It's probably one of the best ones that I've seen with the long sleeve and the hoodie. So really shout out to them. Shout out to Daniel West and his team. They service Orlando, Central Florida Boat Detailing. So if you're in Orlando, reach out to him. He is excellent for boat detailing. So other than that though, we're gonna get started. So the first thing to know is the week leading up to the hurricane. So I'm in Bradenton, Florida. I'm working on a Chris Craft Catalina, doing a full ceramic. You've probably noticed a lot of the videos that I have on that, and they're actually still coming out in the future. So there's still more videos being made for that part of that series. So you're gonna wanna stay tuned for that. But anyways, Sunday night is coming. I get home Sunday night from the job, and you know, leading up to this, the hurricane is supposed to be hitting on Wednesday. So I get home Sunday night. So really the first opportunity I have to go shopping and kind of get ready for this is on Monday morning. You know, and I started hearing about this on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm kind of monitoring the hurricane as I'm working, and you know, at first they're like, it's hitting Tampa, so you know, Tampa's pretty much getting the red alert and they're getting ready to evacuate. So anyways, leading up to that, Monday comes, I get out of bed, I'm like, okay, gotta go to the store, trying to find water bottles, because you know, I only had like maybe one or two packs of 35s. Like, I wanted to make sure I was good for a while. I didn't know how long to expect not to have water, so I want to be good for 2 weeks. And as Tuesday was coming, like, they were saying the hurricane was shifting east, so we definitely were getting more of the threat. And by Tuesday, you know, Cape Coral was in a, you know, evacuation for zones A and B, which I was in zone B, pretty much right on the edge between A and B. So I'm kind of closer. I'm in Southwest Cape, kind of closer to the water, but we are protected, and I will explain that later. And so I'm going out Monday morning, and I'm like, okay, gotta get water. Not finding water anywhere. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna go to the gas station, and I'm gonna buy singles. Because I went to 5 or 6 places, Publix, Walmart, all these big places, Dollar General. They're not having water anymore. So going to the gas stations, buying singles, you know, big singles, just to make sure I have enough water for a while. Got that, I was searching for candles, got some candles, searching for battery chargers for my phone. No battery chargers left. And I knew I would be able to charge in my car, but I didn't know if my car was gonna make it. So I didn't know if that was gonna be a possibility, because with the storm surge and all that, we weren't sure of what to expect, because we had been ordered to evacuate. So I knew it could get pretty serious. And then I got food. So I like to eat pretty healthy. So I got some fruit, and I usually like to eat chicken, beef, pork, right? Some healthier meats, and obviously that wasn't gonna stay long in the fridge very long, so I picked up some beef jerky, some tuna, just stuff to get my nutrients in, and not stuff that I would normally eat, but stuff that was gonna last. I picked up like some almonds and some, like, you know, things that were just gonna get me through the hurricane. So we did that, got back to the apartment. That was on Monday, and I was just kind of cleaning up from the job, washing clothes, making sure, you know, just pretty much cleaning the house and the apartment and everything, because I knew I wasn't gonna have electricity for a while. Trying to freeze more ice in the fridge and just make sure we had plenty of ice, and I was just freezing bags of ice just so I can put it in the fridge. And we were able to get the fridge in the freezer to last, you know, probably 5 days into the hurricane after it was over. So did pretty good prep on there. But you know, when you look at this from an outsider, or for someone new experiences, they tell you buy food, buy water, so you're just doing it. You're just doing what they tell you, and you know, that's what you gotta have water. You gotta have bottled water, because the tap water is not always going to be good when you're experiencing a hurricane. So not always safe to drink. So that is why you do need the bottled water, because some people did have questions about that. And Tuesday comes, I'm like, you know what? I better get some more food, because I probably only bought food for a few days. And I'm like, you know, like I said, it was shifting east, and we have a serious threat of actually getting hit. So I bought more food on Tuesday. I went to Walmart. You know, I think Publix was open, Walmart was open. Everywhere else is pretty much closed. All the mom and pop shops, all the smaller stores already closed for the hurricane. So I went to Walmart, picked up everything that I needed. And they did a really good job stocking. Like, shout out to Walmart. They had a lot of employees working. Everyone was working together for the community. And I'm sure Publix was the same way. Publix does a great job of that too. So Cape Coral kind of came together for that, and everyone was able to get what they needed. But as Tuesday came, you know, the night was kind of getting I was just cleaning up, you know, just getting ready, making any text or phone calls I needed, just kind of catching up with anything I needed, because I knew it was going to be rough the next couple of days. So pretty much Tuesday night comes, the winds are starting to, you know, it's starting to get windy. The hurricane we're just getting the very outer bands, maybe 10, 15 miles per hour. I wake up Wednesday morning at like 3 a.m. It's picked up even more, 20 miles or so per hour. And, you know, the trees are blowing and everything's just leaning one way because, you know, the wind's blowing, but it's a constant wind. It's not just like gusts, it's a constant wind. And then, you know, 11 a.m., well, let's see. So I wake up at 7, I do my routine. And then, you know, I cook breakfast. I had somewhat of a normal morning. Obviously the day was gonna get worse, but I had electricity, and we really had electricity and water. You know, we had water for a minute, but we had electricity until the winds got up to about, I think, like 60 miles per hour. That's probably when things started falling over and lines started breaking and stuff like that. So pretty much, like I said, so 11 a.m. comes, this is like the hurricane. Like the winds are slowly, like from the morning, all the way from 3 a.m. up to 11, like it's just slowly starting to pick up the winds, and it's getting up to like 60, 70. I don't really know exactly, but probably at 11 a.m. around like 80, like a constant 80 from where I'm at in Southwest Cape. And things are just blowing one way. And now I'm gonna explain my apartment. So I'm in an apartment, I'm on the 2nd floor. And I parked my car in one of the highest spots in the apartment complex. So I got lucky because my car didn't go under. I just had water up to like the tires. So really lucky there. I can't believe the amount of people that were parking in low spots. Like you had to have known we were under a storm surge threat. Like the amount of people that were parking so far down, I couldn't believe it. Like really, I couldn't. But anyways, that just goes to show how many different types and unique people are out there. So Tuesdays come, right, and the winds are blowing 11 a.m. and it's picking up, it's like 80, and then these gusts are coming in, and that's what really hurts you, and that's what knocks over a lot and does a lot of the damage is these gusts. You know, you might have 130, 150 mile per hour gusts just coming in and just blowing things apart. You know, I'm watching this from my patio. So my patio is like this. So if you imagine, so I got my patio, it's an outdoor balcony to my apartment. I go out the sliding door, balcony's like this. It's protected, so I got walls on each side, concrete, and then I got my apartment, which I can, you know, go in and out of the slide door, and then I just have the balcony. So basically the winds are blowing north and south, so I'm actually sitting east and west, so I'm able to watch this storm, and I don't have to worry about getting hit. Nothing's blowing at me, it's just blowing this way while I'm watching it. So I'm very protected, not worried, didn't feel in danger. I didn't have any threats of like the apartment collapsing, like nothing like that. Like I knew I was in a good spot. Now if you're in a house, it's a different story. You're getting direct hits, and your house is obviously not as stable as a massive apartment complex. So didn't have to worry much about that. But you know, watching the hurricane and these gusts, like it was something to see. Like it's really incredible to watch a hurricane if you're, you know, obviously if you're able to. A lot of people aren't able to, and they have shutters in their house, and they're not able to watch the hurricane like I was. I sat for hours and just watched it. It's a unique experience. Like you can feel the energy of the wind. Like it's strange. Like it gives you a lot of energy, because I think it's so powerful, and but it's very damaging, like the aftermath of it. Like, and I didn't know like what to think. Like, is this a bad hurricane? Is it like, because I'd never been in one, and honestly it doesn't seem as bad. Like the first 4 hours, it didn't seem horrible. Like it was definitely really windy, and you didn't want to go outside because you might have got hit by a shingle. Like there were shingles flying off the roof and trees falling over. All the tops of the palm trees pretty much blew off all of the palms that fall over, and especially the royal palms, so the beautiful big royal palm trees. I don't know if you guys know your palm tree types, but all those, I mean, they're all the palms came off of those. They're just you have the trunk and then the tops are gone. So very damaging. Gutters, just everything. I think my car got hit with a gutter on the hood. Nothing too bad in terms of damage, but you know, a lot of cars got hit with shingles, so I got lucky there. But like the first 4 hours, it was bad, but it wasn't like horrible. And then what happened was I didn't have electricity and water and stuff, so I'm like, you know what, like I've been watching this for 4 hours. Like, I don't know how long it's gonna last. I can't really get on my phone to see anymore because the connection with the data is just not there. And I just go to sleep, and I wake up, and I actually wake up because the winds completely switch other directions. So we did get the eye. I don't know how long. I heard it was for like a few minutes here where I'm at in Cape Coral. For a few minutes, got kind of calm, and the wind just switched. So we got hit by the eye wall constantly. And then I'm gonna explain all this here in a second about Fort Myers Beach and Cape Coral, and then what the differences are. But we got the eye wall, and when it came back the other way, it was just even worse. It was worse. And then it's bad when you have it blowing one way for 4 hours, because everything gets stressed this way. And then when it blows back, everything gets stressed the other way, and it just breaks. So telephone poles, trees, stuff like that, houses, roofs, just a disaster. And so it's coming the other way for 4 hours. So pretty much the hurricane's lasting from like 11, like the majority of the hurricane. The hurricane lasted for maybe 14 or 15 hours total, but you know, the bulk of it is 8 hours, and it was from 11 a.m. to about 7 p.m. And then the wind started slowly dying down. But I mean, it looked like a war scene, because as the night was coming, there was a house burning down over here where I'm at, and nobody can get to it. There's nothing you can do. The roads are blocked, and the emergency service isn't responding because of the hurricane winds. So there's a house burning down, and you're seeing all this debris. I mean, it's a complete different story when you're looking at the hurricane, watching it, and then you actually go and see the rest of the city. It's like a war scene. It's bad, it's sad, it's nostalgic. Not something you really ever want to experience again. And it's just so hurtful for the community. But I do want to explain something. So obviously a lot of people probably know about Fort Myers Beach. They got the storm surge, and you know, with the hurricane spinning counterclockwise, it pushes the water up. So when the hurricane hits north, it hit in Cayo Costa, which is part of Cape Coral. So you know, you got a lot of the storm surge because of the counterclockwise rotation in Fort Myers, and they have a natural beach. Now, if you look at Cape Coral, we got damage from the winds. We might not have got the storm surge, but we got the damage. Like, we're bad because of the winds. Fort Myers Beach, they got flattened because of the storm surge, which is horrible. That wipes out everything, but the wind blows everything over. So we have a lot of damage in terms of wind damage. And we're protected though. We have barrier islands that protect Cape Coral. We have Sanibel, Captiva, Boca Grande, Cayo Costa. We have Pine Island. These are all barrier islands that protect Cape Coral, because we don't have a natural beach in Cape Coral. So, you know, we might not got the storm surge. Now, there was an 8-foot storm surge from if you were on the canal, and I do have a couple clients on the canal right off of the water closest to the barrier islands. They got an 8-foot storm surge, and they had water flooding in the house. So it was quite, I mean, an 8-foot storm surge in Cape Coral. So that's kind of what that looked like. And you know, we got a lot of flooding at the apartment, but I'm more inland, and it went down really quick. But as the end of the storm was coming, I mean, there were cars underwater, at least half underwater. And like I said, I parked in a good spot, so I got lucky. But and then it started, the water kind of drained pretty fast, pretty much everywhere from what I know and what I saw here in Cape Coral. But the next day, guys, devastating. The next day you get up, you know, the hurricane's actually over now. The winds are completely died down. The sun's coming out, like it's just a normal day. Like the weather, it hasn't, like, this is 8 days after the hurricane as I'm making this video. It hasn't rained since. It's been complete sun, like normal Cape Coral weather. And you go outside and it's just, it's horrific. Like, it's nostalgic. It sucks. You know, I went around driving just to check out the city, and everything. I mean, trees blown over, telephone poles blown over. A lot of the gas stations destroyed, the roofs of the gas pumps just off and all over the place. Boats in the road, boats in backyards. A couple of my clients, their boats didn't make it. It's crazy to imagine, like, boats in the roads. Like, it's crazy. And I'll talk about the long term of what I think the long term future is, but it's just not something you want to see, guys. And I'll throw a couple of videos and the photos up during, probably as I'm making a video for you guys to look at. But it's different, like, when you experience it yourself versus, you know, hearing opinions from outsiders. Like, that's why I want to share my experience, because I actually was in the hurricane. And I just want you guys to get my viewpoint from my location. Everyone's gonna have a different story because they were somewhere else, whether in Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Punta Gorda, right? But yeah, I mean, the long-term looks at this, I think, like, in terms of me working on boats, I think here in a month or two, I will start working on more boats. Some of my higher end clients are gonna want their services picked back up again. So, you know, you're gonna see some boat service coming back. Now for the families and people who have tight budgets and aren't doing too well off, I think it's gonna take years for them to recover, I do. And some people lost a lot in this. So it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for anybody who lives in the community. If you have a job here, it's gonna be tough for everybody. If you have a family here, it's hard. It's gonna take some years. I think I'll slowly get back into service, but I'm gonna have to search work on the East Coast or somewhere else, or I'm gonna have to do something else. I'm not gonna be able to rely on maybe having full-time service here in Cape Coral. So just something I wanna point out, and it gives me, it's something else that I have to work on something else different. So it's tough for everybody, financially, emotionally, you know, relationally, with relationships, everything's tough. So moving forward, I do Fort Myers. It sucks, it's devastating. I pray for anyone who lost everything, but I do think Fort Myers Beach will be built up even better here. Just wait for it in like 10 years. I think Fort Myers will be built up better. Cape Coral is still it's a rapidly growing city. I think we're gonna recover somewhat fast. And I think people will continue to move to Florida because of the weather, because of just the way the state's set up, and you know, we have a lot of good things going for us down here. So that's kind of my opinion on all this stuff. I'll keep you guys updated, and we're still feeling the effects now. I was lucky. I got electricity back and water back within 5 days after the storm, and everybody got water back up to this point, but not everybody. Still 8 days after, only about 50% of Cape Coral has electric. So very fortunate there, but it sucks. It's not fun to go through. Everything changes. You know, you can't cook normal, can't have a normal meal. It's just survival mode pretty much. And yeah, it's nostalgic. It really is, the day after. And you know, you just gotta get out. Like I'm out helping people clean up, and the faster you clean up, the better. That's really all there is to it. The faster you can clean up everything, the faster things can get back to normal, and they can start rebuilding and fixing and repairs and things like that. So guys, that's my experience. If you guys have any comments, questions, anything you want to say, just comment below. As always, like the video, share it if you think someone else could find this experience helpful. And guys, I will see you on the next video.